Welcome to the U.S. Veterans Magazine. I'm here with Amie and Jack. Kind of a little different. We have a military spouse, a husband and wife team here that we're going to be interviewing. I want to first of all congratulate Walmart on being a top MilSpouse employer, but even more exciting to really hear from you from within the testimonial and your story. And so I don't know who wants to go first, but I'd love for you guys to introduce yourselves and just tell us a little bit about your story, how you met, and how now you ended up at Walmart.
Yeah, I'm happy to kick us off.
Sure.
I'm Amie Murtha, and I am a major in the Air National Guard and also a proud Walmart associate. Jack and I met while we were both cadets at the Air Force Academy, but we didn't start dating until after we had both gone to tech school at intelligence training in San Angelo. So we were a classic tech school romance. Everyone teased us. They were like, when are you guys going to get together? And then finally we did. But we were both fortunate enough to get stationed in South Korea right out of tech school. And so Jack would jump on the old Wolfpack Wheels bus and he'd come on up to visit me at Osan. And so we had some fun dating long distance for actually a couple of years, because after that I went to Germany while Jack went to Florida. But ultimately, we got married. We have been for 10 years. We have two little boys that keep us busy. They're ages 2 and 5. And so, yeah, I'm definitely outnumbered in this household.
Excellent. And so now tell me your journey to Walmart and how you're
Yeah.
both
Yes.
employed with Walmart. I'm
Yeah,
curious to know.
I'll kind of start things off. So, hey, everybody,
Okay.
I'm Jack. I was active duty in the Air Force for 7 years before separating. I did everything I wanted to do. It was great. Part of the reason I got out, I think Amie and I both, we deployed at the same time and didn't see each other for 10 months between 2017 and 2018. So we as a couple kind of decided we didn't really want to keep doing life that way. It would have been a good path for us, but wanted to kind of change things up, especially if we wanted to start a family. So I separated in 2019 and decided to go to business school. So I went to business school at Georgetown. And when I started recruiting companies, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. The flavor of the month for MBAs at the time was tech and consulting. So the more we talked about that as a couple and what I wanted to go do, I didn't necessarily want to be on the road 5 days a week as a consultant, and moving to California just wasn't on our radar as a family. So we thought we'd try to be a little closer to where we grew up and closer to home. So um, I was at a veterans recruiting conference, and a friend of a friend said, "Hey, are you interested in Walmart? I've got a friend who's a current associate at Walmart who's a Marine vet himself." And so got introduced to him, and that led to a coffee chat and an interview. And I did my MBA internship here at Walmart, and converted to full time. So we ended up moving here in spring of 2021. But for that to work out, Amie was still active duty. And so she applied to go work at our Air Force ROTC down at University of Arkansas. Amie, maybe you could talk a little bit about that and we could go from there.
Yeah, so I was really fortunate because I wasn't quite ready to leave active duty.
Yeah.
So it was great that Jack got the role at Walmart, but I was like, what the heck am I going to do? So thankfully, at the same time that Jack received the offer and the same time he needed to start, that's when there was the opening teaching ROTC at University of Arkansas came about. So I got to stay active duty. I taught ROTC for 3 years there, so go Razorbacks. And then we just loved Northwest Arkansas so much, and Jack loved the Walmart community so much that I said, well, maybe I need to join in on that too. So thankfully, there is an Air National Guard base nearby that also does intelligence and in the same kind of field that I was doing on active duty. So my transition was super simple. I got to, at the same time, join Walmart and join the Air National Guard. And the Walmart role that I'm in now, I work in our security operations center. It's called our GSOC, our Global Security Operations Center. So it's much like an intelligence command center that I'm familiar with from my active duty time. And it's the same kind of mission set where we're all about security and protecting people and highlighting any kind of risks that are happening in the world, and then applying them in a way to make Walmart the safest place to work and shop. That's our motto there down in the GSOC. So it was a really good and smooth transition for me from the military culture over to the Walmart culture.
Excellent. In your experience, what makes Walmart such a great company to work for as a military spouse? I know you mentioned a couple things, but they offer quite a bit. And most people don't realize, and they may be familiar with the name Walmart, but they don't realize, like what you just said, you have a whole department on just security. And it's so similar to what you were, used to in the military. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So it was interesting. I think one of the reasons I chose Walmart as a career was the core values that we had in the Air Force: integrity first, service before self, excellence in all we do. That just lines up almost perfectly with Walmart. Sam Walton, when he founded Walmart, he was a World War II vet himself and learned a lot about servant leadership. And our core values really reflect a lot of what the military's core values stand for. So for me, I was making a difference in the Air Force, and I wanted to go continue to serve in another capacity. So that's why I chose Walmart. As a spouse, I would say just the leadership team that I have is very supportive of Amie when she gets activated for guard drill. So whether that's over a long weekend or whether she has to go down to a training for 2 or 3 weeks, my leadership has been supportive, saying like, "Hey, we get it. Y'all are serving something else too, and whether you have to go get in a little later after you drop the boys off at school, or leave a little early to go pick them up, that's okay. We know you'll get the work done, and we trust y'all are doing the right thing for your family too." And so the support structure around that has been really great. And I think there's a lot of folks here that want to make a difference, and whether that's here at Walmart or serving in other capacities, that's a lot of what we stand for here. Excellent.
So besides support, what else can you say why Walmart is a great company to work for as a military spouse?
Good question. I think there's what I've seen too is there's a lot of like-minded veterans here at Walmart. And so what that's led to is we've created programs. Like we have a program now that's like a skills translator, and I won't go into the details of that too much. But if you have a military type resume, or you're a military spouse, like supporting your spouse, we have a skills translator where you can upload your resume, and it helps translate what you've done in the military and turn that into kind of civilian speak, so your hiring manager really understands what you were doing.
That's
and so,
huge.
That's huge. So we've done. That is so it's great.
So supportive. Yes.
Great to have that from like frontline associates who are in the stores and the distribution centers, but we also use that at the home office level as well.
That's wonderful. I want to know if you can share maybe a specific story or example that reflects Walmart's support, maybe the company culture or the team you work with that really stands out for you.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. Like I said, I work in Walmart's GSOC, so that's a 24/7 operations center. So that means all of the security teams and partners, we're working nights and we're working weekends. So when the times that I've had to step away for drill weekend, which is once a month, or for being activated for a couple week-long training, that means my coworkers have been stepping up and covering my shifts and filling in for me every single time without complaint. And I think it's one thing to feel supported by your leadership, which I do completely, but it's another thing to also be supported by my peers on that peer-to-peer level, because they're the actual ones who are having to fill in and step in for me. And I think they do so always with a smile on their face, because the culture of Walmart is just so service-minded. It's not only veteran friendly and military friendly, but people know I'm serving others. I'm serving the communities in the United States. I'm serving communities all around the world with the stores that we have internationally. So I felt really supported every time when I've had to go away, knowing that someone is going to step up and they're not going to complain about doing it.
And you would do the same for others. It's just that type of culture. And
Yeah,
It
exactly.
seems like a team and a great culture to work for that's very friendly and very supportive. And I really like to hear that. From your perspective, what sets Walmart apart from other employers when it comes to recruiting, supporting, and retaining military spouses and veterans long term? Because that's, to me, the most important thing. You can recruit all day, but when you can retain them and they can talk like the way you are, very genuinely, they really set them apart from others. And what do you think are some of those things that set them apart?
I'll kind of point back to our core values. I think that's really important. And when you walk around the stores, the distribution centers, the home office, I took my badge off a little bit ago, but you'll see associates that have tenure where they've been working for Walmart for 20 years, 25, 30 years.
Sure.
And there's so many folks that have they've committed to this company. It's great culture. And so to me, like being able to see that and understanding that this is a place where people want to work for long term, not just as a military spouse or a vet, but just great people in general. I think that's what's been really important. So that's something I've noticed.
There's another thing that Walmart has is these associate resource groups. And Jack and I are both part of one called SERVES, and that's for all veterans in the company. And so it's a great way to get together with fellow veterans and to share experiences and network throughout the company. Because like you mentioned yourself, you weren't aware of the huge security team that Walmart has. And a lot of people weren't, and I wasn't either until I knew someone, a fellow veteran who worked there, who told me, like, Amie, this is something that military personnel have the skill set for. Come on down. So there's been time and time again where I've had coffee chats with other members of SERVES to tell them a little bit about what I'm doing in my side of the organization. They're talking about what they're doing, because even Jack and I do completely different roles here at Walmart, even though we both come from that military background. So I think that's another way for us to still feel connected to that other part of ourselves while also being Walmart associates.
Oh, that's amazing. It means you can come home and talk about different things because you're
Yeah.
two different places. It's just the same name. It's so interesting. And again, I've never interviewed a couple before. So this has been a complete pleasure for me. Is there anything else about yourself or the program or the company you'd like to share before we wrap up?
I think I would say, when I started recruiting for Walmart, again, Walmart wasn't on my radar, but the more I learned about Walmart and kind of what we are and what we stand for and just the long-term associates, the support for veterans, I mean, this is such a great place to work. I'm glad we ended up here as a family. I think we can both see ourselves being successful here, as veterans, as a family, and raising our kids here and just where we live in Northwest Arkansas has been a really great place to live too. So we're excited to be a part of Walmart. I'll hit my 5-year anniversary coming up in June. So yeah, it's been really special.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for your service. I've enjoyed this so much. I am so excited to share this with our readers. And I can tell just from your demeanor and your wonderful smiles, the genuine nature that you have for Walmart. So thank you so much. And I really look forward to the future of Walmart and you and your family. So I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Mona.
All right. Excellent.